Welcome to Caribbean Calendar. I'm your host, Suzanne Richards, joined by
Ingrid John Batiste. Well, Suzanne, we haven't been together, I don't think, for the year, have we?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. How's your summer?
It's going very well, but my goodness, it is almost too difficult to keep up with all the activities in the community. And I see your Facebook or whatever it is. I really don't know how you do it, but do share some of this information with us, please.
Yeah, I try my best to attend as many activities as possible. So far, I've been able to go to the Barbados Association event. There was a St. Vincent tea party
Yeah.
with reggae. It's been a great summer so far. And this past weekend, I went to Montreal for a Carrie Mass. Montreal hadn't had their carnival, their Caribbean festival,
Yes.
in a long time. So it was really great to see what they're up to. And this weekend, I'm going to an Afro festival in Cornwall. So that's what I'm doing. Yes, in Cornwall, it's absolutely free. So it's called Afro Diversity. So it's just an hour drive away, and it's a 3-day festival. And there's a reggae band.
I was going to ask what is the name? Do you know the band?
I believe it's called One Love, and but I'll link it on our Facebook page so that folks, if they're interested in
Can drive
in taking the drive.
Do you know exactly where it is? Or I guess in any event it would be quite easy to find, right?
Yes, I think it's called Lalonde Park or something like that. So so there's that festival that I'll be attending. But I'm looking forward to some other events happening in the city coming up. Of course, we have the Vincy Picnic happening.
Yes.
Club Soca is having their picnic coming up.
Ecolands Park.
Yes.
A Guyana group also is having a Guyana Cultural Day
Yes,
at Ecolands Park.
That's right, in the park. Of course, there's the Roots and Culture Festival. I think that's happening in the Barhaven end of the city.
Oh, okay.
And there's the Flow Seniors Brunch that's coming up.
Yes, honoring our community. Yes.
And the Emancipation Day flag raising, plus the event that's happening downtown on the 18th, I believe it is. So there's 2 Emancipation Day events put on by the same West Indian Youth and Culture Association. There's, of course, the Keith Charles Golf Tournament that is coming up for our golfers. Do you play golf?
No.
Neither do I. Neither do I.
No.
Of course, we have Cara Vibe coming up, and we have a special guest today.
Yes.
Later on, we'll be hearing from Dennis Mears, who's the director, one of the directors of Cara Vibe.
Right.
He's our guest today, so of course we'll be hearing more about that. There's, of course, the Trinidad and Tobago Association, Ivory Jubilee. Madam President, tell me a little bit about the Ivory Jubilee.
Actually, it is celebrating the 62nd anniversary of the independence of Trinidad
67.
and Tobago. 62. 62nd.
Okay. Oh, 67.
Yeah. And actually, the name was given by one of our younger members. You know, we try to get the youth to come in and take over from us. And I asked, what are we going to call this event? And she said Ivory Jubilee. And there was no way I was going to have anybody on that executive turn that down.
Ivory
you
Jubilee.
know?
It sounds
Yeah.
it sounds grand. Do I have to wear all ivory?
No,
Is there a
actually,
theme?
on the contrary, it's would you believe it's an outdoor event
Lovely.
at Billings Estate, no less.
Wow.
Very nice place with a large marquee tent. But the dress is going to be elegantly casual.
Elegantly casual.
Yes,
I
kind
feel
of
I
hope
need a
no
hat.
jeans kind of thing, but
Jeans is
no,
okay? Oh, no
I
jeans.
would prefer not. No.
Okay,
You
so
don't
no
think?
jeans.
But you know how you can dress
Caribbean casual.
exactly.
Let's call it
and
that.
elegantly. That's right.
And of course,
And
go ahead.
And
sorry.
we're going to be doing our scholarship awards there because we always do it at the August or September event.
Yes.
And speaking of that, we are giving 5 scholarships this year.
Wonderful.
Yeah. 2 of them from the A.T. Tolley, who that scholarship again was someone who was paying it forward, a woman who had come here many, many years ago and, had some hard knocks, but also did very well. and thought she would do something for the ones behind. So it is a scholarship for young black women,
Beautiful.
either of Trinidadian descent, or I think she said Kittian and probably Grenadian,
Okay.
but definitely Caribbean.
Nice.
Another young woman has paid it forward is Sade Francois. I
Yes,
think you
yes,
would have.
Dr.
Yes,
Sade Francois.
Yes, Dr. Sade
Yes.
Francois. She was our, I think, 2015 or 2016 scholarship winner, and did medicine and you know what was admirable? Just as she graduated and got her job, that first year she offered a scholarship for $1,000 because she remembered what it was like for her mom, because it was a single mom, putting her through school. And she said our scholarship, it was only $750 at that time.
But it makes a difference.
Yeah.
It
She
makes
said,
a
I never
difference.
forgot how much it helped. So she's there to help other women.
Wonderful.
And then, of course, there's the good old CLR James Scholarship.
Right.
And Dr. Walker, who was honored last year, in his speech did say that the Walker family would join and offer a scholarship. And yes, they are giving a scholarship, and a bit of a difference. It's $1,000 scholarship, but it is for 4 years. Every year, the same person would get $1,000.
Fantastic.
That means that they're following that student right through to the end of graduation.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How wonderful
So,
is that? So
you
for a
know,
university student,
yes.
for a university program.
Or college.
Okay.
Yes.
That's excellent.
And the date is the 22nd of July. So if people are listening, and they will hear it on the program.
Oh, the deadline date
please
to apply.
apply. Go to the TNT website. You will see the address flashed on the screen. Go to our website. Call 613-834-1718 for information. Apply. You never know. You
So
never know what
speaking
can
of
happen.
help,
Yeah.
speaking of help, let's talk about
Beryl.
Beryl,
Yeah.
that environmental tragedy
Yes.
that has ravaged Grenada,
Yeah.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines, touchdown in Jamaica.
Yeah, and Kairaku actually more
And
so than any.
more
yeah.
so, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And let's talk about that and those impacts that it's having on our brothers and sisters. You know, us in the diaspora, we're watching and we're worried and we're concerned. And there's a lot of different organizations that are offering, to help.
Yeah.
Here at Caribbean Calendar, we want to encourage folks to donate, but be safe as to where you're donating.
Exactly.
Be safe.
Unfortunately, yeah, there's always that element of where does the money go. I was speaking to a friend yesterday. She called because I wanted to get first-hand information as to, where help could go. And, she was explaining to me, for me, she touched on something that for me is near and dear. It was an old folks' home that had been ravaged, and so they had to move all those older people from Kairaku into Grenada. Well,
Okay.
they're going to have to rebuild that
Right.
home and totally furnish it.
Right.
So
So
that's
stay
something
tuned.
that, we
Stay
would
tuned.
like to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stay tuned.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we encourage our viewership
Yeah.
to donate and help.
I know St. Vincent is doing something pretty
yes,
soon.
that's
for
exactly
Yeah.
it. There's a brunch coming up. Do what you can. Donate as you can. Make sure you're donating safely and rightly and justly. And we pray for our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean
Just
who have
hoping
been
that there are no more. Yeah.
no more casualties, no more deaths.
Pretty traumatic for them. Yeah. Dennis, welcome to Caribbean Calendar. I was trying to think whether or not I'd ever interviewed you on this show before. I know I did Trevor, but if I haven't, well, very special welcome to you. And I know that you have information that our audience is just about dying to hear, so let's get to it right away.
Thanks for having me. I was on the show last year with Trevor, so it's good to be back again.
So that was Suzanne who took care of you at that time, if I remember
No,
right.
you interviewed
I
us.
did?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Thanks for having us back.
And we did do a quick interview at
at Barbados.
Right, at Barbados, as well as last year at the fitness event
Correct.
is where we interviewed them. So we've had you before. Welcome
Yes,
back.
yes.
But now you're in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And he's obviously a man of many hats, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
For those of our viewers who don't really know, could you just give us a quick history of Carry Vibe? Like you have when it started and what it really is or was?
So we started Caravive about 15 years ago. And one of my main reasons for starting Caravive was to give some of the younger black kids opportunities to get volunteer hours. So that's where I stemmed it from. And I also felt that even though Carabana was the main carnival, I felt that we as a people were getting very little out of it. So and the reason I said that is because there's a friend of mine that had called me from Houston. He said, "Can you book a hotel for me at Chelsea, Delta Chelsea in Toronto?" And when I called and to book the hotel, they said they have to put a bracelet on everybody that comes into the hotel. And I called him back. I said, "I don't feel comfortable doing that. Our people pay their money just like everybody else. No other group would tolerate that." So last year was the first time I went to Carabana in 30 years
Okay.
based on that. So Caravive started 15 years ago. It's myself and Trevor, and we have been partners for over 25 years. I do the logistics, you do all the social media. So we have a great partnership. We understand each other, and we are both passionate about it. And we have put lots of time in it, our own money. We have taken out of our pockets. We started getting some grants. For example, this year, the grants were cut over 50%,
Wow.
Yes.
which
yes.
is the same from many other festivals. But we do not let that deter us. We
Yeah.
are passionate. It's something that our people can be proud of, and that's why we continue to push forward.
Now this celebration, the event has evolved, but I noticed that there is one thing, that fundamental thing, Carnival, that's missing from it. How are you dealing with that, and is it likely at all to come back, you think?
I think we tried it. The problem with that is it costs about $30,000. Police alone is $18,000. Then you have to block off the street. They give us 2 hours. They're pushing it off the street.
No, that's
So for what we paid and for what we were getting, I didn't think it didn't work in our favor. And plus we had difficulties attracting people in your own city. They would go to Toronto and play carnival. They go other places, but they obviously didn't feel comfortable playing carnival in their own city.
Yeah.
Right.
So which is unfortunate. So so we have decided to only do the beach presently. There's one individual that have approached us. He's interested in doing the carnival, so we will support him. But for now, I've put that on hold.
That's a lot of money, when you think about it, because if you do the math, you're talking about $50K for 2 hours.
Correct.
But
So, right? So when you think about that, and then the investment, we haven't talked about trucks, generators, how you support the bands. We haven't talked about all that yet. So I think that's understanding, and you've been creative in thinking about how can we still bring the flavor.
Correct.
So hopefully we'll see that in 2025.
Well, we'll look at it. It's not off the table, but it's very difficult to put on a street parade in Ottawa.
but
I
it's,
mean, for 1 year, I was stuck, and I went to a trucking company, and they charged me $3,000 for 2 trucks. So it tells you that they have full control. They can charge you whatever they choose to charge you. But it's all culture. So if you're passionate about it, you find a way to get it done. So that's what we continue to do.
It's kind of in a way unfortunate because we are taxpayers too. So probably that's something we should be looking at. We have to raise our voices, because I am sure there are other communities, if that was the kind of pressure that they were under, they would, be making a little noise about it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and we also have to work as a community and raise
Exactly.
funds.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
perhaps sometimes that's the lesson. It's sometimes hard to hear funding cut by 50%. That's a lot. So how can we as a community, how can we as a Caribbean community assist? What can we do to help raise funds and awareness?
It's something worth discussion, because at the end of the day, it's all culture, and we want to take our culture to the wider community.
Yeah.
So in saying that, I think that we have to come together collectively, but sometimes they have an idea, because if you're not Trinidadian, you don't know how to do
Run a
carnival.
carnival.
We get that type of.
Yeah,
But
but that's I think to a fundamental part of it is the population of Ottawa. Mark you, that's changing. I am speaking about the Caribbean community, which in the past consisted of diplomats, students, and professionals, none of whom were really the essence of carnival outside of Trinidad and Tobago. You know what I mean?
Correct.
When you go to a place like Toronto or Montreal, you had a larger working class population. And they were, that's where carnival started, if you think about it, among the slaves, the freed slaves, and right? So it was a ground movement. It was a ground celebration. And so that is lacking in the city of Ottawa. I guess people are too brilliant or too professional, and they don't think it the right thing to be showing their culture in Ottawa on the streets. That's not a problem in Toronto. So to me, that's one of the biggest problems of hosting a carnival here. We have to depend on people to come from Toronto and from Montreal, and you can't. You know what I mean? You've got to have something of yourself, and they will come.
Well, it's interesting what you just said, because we are in a government town where a lot of folks are held by certain standards when they
Right.
sign their contracts or works, and they don't necessarily want to be in the street in wearing a certain thing.
Yeah.
That they may be judged on after. So that's
Yeah.
a great point.
Yeah, it is.
But there are other sides of carnival. There are other
Yes,
sides of
yes,
carnival
we
that
know
are
that,
not
yes.
the pretty mass.
Yes,
That will still allow folks to celebrate loudly and proudly, but wearing perhaps more clothes.
Yes, I agree.
So,
I agree.
So perhaps
Yeah.
it's developing. It's looking at the flavor of Ottawa.
Yep.
And we were talking earlier, and we talked about Montreal can't be Ottawa, Ottawa can't be Toronto,
Right.
Toronto. We all have something very unique in each one of our cities that is beautiful, and that should be celebrated.
Yeah.
And it's just finding that right spice.
Yeah. Exactly.
Finding that right spice. Like I said, we all have macaroni pie. We just make it different,
Yeah.
but we all call it macaroni pie. And it's all good, and it's all delicious, and it's all good for the soul. So tell us more.
I must thank you, because Suzanne always supported Carnival. I don't think there's a year that you miss when we ran it downtown.
Well, thank
we appreciated
you.
that.
I appreciate you, and I have to say publicly that it was because of your support. Caravibe supported, in terms of lessons. What do I need to know? And was there to guide. As I've done many different things: volunteer, mass band leader, and a 3-time champion, if I can say that.
Yeah.
But I didn't bring the traditional mass, and that caused controversy, because I didn't bring. I brought a more traditional mass, more so than the pretty mass.
Correct.
Which there was controversy when our group won 3 times.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the feathers and the sparkles.
Well, that's because, clearly, if I may interrupt, that's clearly people who know nothing about Carnival, because Carnival was what you were bringing. That's the essence of Carnival.
Well, it's the art,
Right.
right? So I'm an artist.
Yeah.
So what I brought was the art, and the logistics. I was assisted. I got help with the logistics, and I think that's, for me personally, it's the art of Carnival. that we need to be bringing forth, and I see it happening. There's, the West Indian Youth Association. They're bringing that art. They're learning how to bend wire. They're learning the art. And I think that's where we need to get the young people to learn the art, the history, the roots of it.
Right.
And then once you have a solid root, we know what happens, right? So perhaps, Caravibe can, guide the West Indian Youth Association. Maybe it's a partnership. Who knows? Going forth. We as a community, we continue to come together. So I'm looking forward to hearing what's coming up for Caravibe this year. The new spice, the new flavor for 2024. And I will be there.
Okay, good. So on Friday, July 19th, we have Juve at Club 27 on York Street. Then the next day we have Reach the Beach. And in the evening, we have an after party at Metsy's.
Okay.
But the real one that I'm really interested in this year that we have added to the plate is the Rum and Food Festival. So we
Rum and food.
Rum and food.
I'm a Ruminadian. I know people think I'm Dominican, but I'm Rumanican. Like,
So
tell us more.
I'm bringing a chef from Barbados called Chef Edie.
Ooh.
He runs the Food and Rum Festival in Barbados,
Oh my.
and he's hired by the Barbados Tourism Board. So he will be here. So the comedy show will be good. It's Jamaica versus Trinidad. So
Watch
that
it.
should be exciting. And then we have the food, which will be downstairs. 5 food vendors: St. Lucia, Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica.
Nice.
Pili Pili is a cross section of African and Jamaican.
Nice.
And then we have an after party, soca versus reggae. So
Okay.
we have a lot of spices.
So laughter
May I
and
just
food.
ask a question? I have not heard one event. Well, we don't forget the comedy, but one dancing event for the more mature people in the community.
Okay, look out.
And we're comfortable if you hold it in the day. That's fine.
We're actually more
You
comfortable in
left
the
us
day.
out of the melee.
Well, now that you mention it, we will make sure
Next
that
year?
we add it to
Next
our
year.
plans for next year.
All right.
That
all
would
right.
be wonderful.
Yes.
I would like a little buckle and spoon fet myself. Thank you very
Precisely.
much.
Yes.
We're
yes.
moving towards more day afternoon parties now anyway, rather than
Yeah.
the overnight. So
Exactly. I
you-
think that would be
yeah,
nice.
You
Yes.
guys would enjoy that more.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
You can lend us whatever advice you have, how you would like it.
Yeah.
So we will make sure that we add
That
it.
sounds
Yeah,
great.
that would be no, really, it would be, because a number of people now, they don't drive at night. They don't want to go out by themselves at night. You can't
They just
blame
can't
them.
stay awake at
So if you could have something that, we could go and enjoy ourselves as well. We can still dance, and
Yes.
but we wouldn't probably go down to George Street party or after hours party.
But we tend to keep most of our events in Orleans now.
Yes.
So I think people are more comfortable in going downtown
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
Downtown has changed tremendously. so
Considerably. Yeah.
you really don't want to take the risk as you get older either. So
Yeah.
So this year you focused on the soul. That's what it sounds like to me. Food for the soul, which as a foodie I'm so excited, and laughter for the soul. So walk me through that Sunday event. I know you mentioned there's 3 nights. So walk me through the Juve event. What is Juve? Can I come? Do I come with my powder? Like, is it inside? Is it outside? Is it real Juve? Like, what can
it's
we expect?
inside. They do have powder, but they don't have like oil and that type
Okay,
of stuff.
so no oil,
since it's
but
indoor,
powder.
Yeah, powder.
Powder's okay.
Correct.
Oh, okay, this is great.
So this is a real kind of Juve
Correct.
stuff. Okay.
I'm
And when is
excited.
this Juve?
It's the Friday night,
Friday night.
July 19th.
Uh-huh.
It's on the market, so you may not want.
Okay. Okay.
So then the Saturday is on the beach.
Yes.
All right. So
And what happens on the beach?
So on the beach we have some ladies in costumes and
okay.
a few young men who may come from Toronto to partake. They walk around, talk to people. We have mainly DJs, but eventually we will get back to artists.
Artists,
Coming
yeah.
out the pandemic, we just taken a gradual
Yes,
process
yeah.
to get things moving again. But
And
that's
we
where
have to
it really
admit,
comes.
artists are pretty expensive
Very
as
expensive.
well, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, people never see the end result. You have to pay the hotel, per diem,
Yeah.
flights.
Their team.
Yep.
Like it's very expensive, and they say, "Oh, we brought Brett Hammond, we brought Sanchez." People say they would come out, but they never came.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you spend a lot of money. The average band costs about $30,000.
Yes, I know.
it's
I
not
am
cheap.
so excited. I am so
Yeah.
excited. What is the one thing that you want folks to know or walk away with after hearing about Caravibe 2024?
I wanted to walk away that we are passionate about what we do, and we want to create that vibrant unity among our people and the wider community.
That's exciting.
And in all of this, I presume there is some basic succession planning going on.
Correct.
Right. Right.
Every year I say this is the last year, but it comes and I can't.
That sounds like somebody I know. That sounds like somebody I know. You know, when
Yeah.
you have that passion within you,
Yes.
it that fire just keeps burning.
Correct.
You know, and you know, on behalf of Caribbean Calendar, we thank you for the work that you and Trevor and your team are doing to keep the culture alive, to make sure that there's succession planning, not only with the logistics of it, but with the spirit of it, with the fire of it. So, you know, we wish you much success. We're super excited to be there. You know,
I'm looking forward to the comedy show.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, because years ago, I think Trinidad and Tobago Association did something
Yeah,
with
we
you
did
guys.
collab, and it
we
went
had
very
one
well.
and it was quite good. So,
I have one
yeah.
last question though. Do we get to vote? Is there a voting Trinidad versus Jamaica? Do we get to vote at the end?
You can vote based on your dancing. You see who danced the most. We're trying to keep it fun. You know?
Yes,
Awesome.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us, and I look forward. Let me just take this opportunity to thank both of you for all that you have done in the community and still continue to do. And it's through yourself, Ingrid, that you have been trailblazers for us in the community, and sometimes people don't recognize all the time and effort you have put into this. So thank you again for all you do for our people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching Caribbean Calendar. Be sure to email us your feedback and story ideas to caribbeancalendar@rogers.com.